Welcome back to another edition of 60 Super Bowls in 60 days. Last time we watched the most dominant team of the 70s elevate to another level with some incredible play by Lynn Swann and some incredible throwing by Terry Bradshaw to win Super Bowl 10 over the Cowboys. Today, we don't have none of those teams, but some legendary coaching on display in Super Bowl 11. It's January 9th, 1977 in the beautiful Rose Bowl in the Pasadena, California sunshine. It is John Madden's Oakland Raiders versus Bud Grant's Minnesota Vikings. And unfortunately for Madden, actually not unfortunately, unfortunately for Bud Grant, will be his fourth try of a Super Bowl, and sadly he will lose all of them. All of them. To the Chiefs, to the Steelers, to the Dolphins, and now to the Oakland Raiders, 32-14. Side note, before I'm going to get to the stats and all kind of stuff, Bud Grant is probably the most legendary coach ever, and sadly we lost him a couple of years ago. But what he has done for the Minnesota Vikings for so many years, with the teams that he have, the Purple People Eaters, and Frank Tarkenton becoming an incredible quarterback, not the first mobile quarterback, of course, to play in the NFL, and certainly not the last. He has pioneered Vikings football for generations, and I hope they can probably name a stadium after him instead of the whole U.S. Bank Stadium thing. I guess sponsorships, I guess, for Money Man View. But they could at least have a little corner of the Bud Grant corner or the Bud Grant stand, I guess. So I'm not advocating for this, Minnesota. I'm just saying he needs to be recognized for something. Maybe a statue. I don't know. Maybe a statue. For now, we have to look at the current, or in the case, the past, about this game. 32-14, Oakland Raiders win. This is their first Super Bowl ever for Raiders, and for Madden, this is his only Super Bowl he won. I'll get to Madden in a minute. Ken Stabler, 12 of 19, 180 yards and a touchdown. Frank Tarkenton, 17 of 35 for 205 yards, a touchdown, but 2 interceptions. Bob Lee came to him, 7 of 9, 81 yards for a touchdown. For the Russian, Clarence Davis, 16 receptions for 137 at 8.56 a pop. Pete Bananzak also contributed 10 for 19, but with 2 touchdowns, of course, at 1.9 a pop. Chuck Foreman was the only Minnesota Viking player to have contribution at 17 receptions for 44 yards, 2.59 a pop. The MVP for the Super Bowl, and by the way, these are Russian numbers, the MVP for the Super Bowl is Fred Biletnikoff. Now, for anybody who don't know Fred Biletnikoff that much, he was a great wide receiver. Well, okay, not the great wide receiver. He's one of the best wide receivers in probably the 70s, of course. And here's a little fun fact for all you college folks. Do you know the award for the best wide receiver in all of college? That reward is named after him. Yes, the Fred Biletnikoff Award is awarded to the best wide receiver in all of college. And he was exceptional in college. He was exceptional in the Pro League. And he was exceptional in that Super Bowl. 4 receptions for 79 yards. Well, not great in this game in terms of yardage, but he was impactful, of course. 17.75 a pop. Almost 20 yards reception for the MVP. Marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. Dave Casper, 4 for 70, of course, 17.5 a pop with a touchdown. For the receivers for Minnesota, Chuck Foreman with 5 receptions for 62 yards at 12.4 pop. Sammy White, 5 receptions for 77 yards at 15.4 pop and a touchdown. Stu Vogt, 4 for 49, 12.25 and a touchdown. So while Minnesota did some contributions and have 2 touchdowns, it was not even enough to even win the game. And now for the defense, which is probably where the reason why Oakland won. Willie Hall and Willie Brown, the 2 Willies. I'm not going to insert a joke here. Both have interceptions. Willie Hall had 3 tackles and a forced and a fumble recovery. Woody Brown have a interception return for a touchdown and a tackle. Phil Villapano and George Atkinson with 6 tackles each. Minnesota, who, let's be honest, Alan Page, man, one of the best defensive players you have ever seen from Minnesota in so many years. He's probably the most contributor to all of Minnesota's losses. he put up some decent numbers for Minnesota teams that have lost. Like, look at this Super Bowl. Alan Page with a sack and 10 tackles. Like, dude, he's trying his best, goddammit. It's like the other side is just not good. Doug Sutherland with a sack and 2 tackles. Jeff Simon, 15 tackles. 15 tackles. Alan Page and Jeff Simmons with 25 tackles each, and they still cannot win. Marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. The kicking. Earl Mann, 2 for 4 on PATs, 2 for 3 on field goals. Fred Cox have 2 for 2 PATs, but unfortunately he can't even try a field goal if he tries, or if I'm trying to find a field goal, I don't think he'll do anything much. Oakland with a 429 to 353 yard advantage, and the turnovers would pretty much decide the game, although we'll get to a Super Bowl that doesn't even decide it later. Oakland won the turnover battle by +3. 3 turnovers for Minnesota, 2 none by Oakland. That was a wrap. And in a score that is pretty much marginal, largely marginal, that was a wrap. Now, why was this Super Bowl significant? Well, for one reason and one reason only. As you all know, John Madden passed away about, I think, 3 years ago right now. Yeah, 3 years. Around this time, 3 years ago. And we all know John Madden for his broadcasting quirks, his brilliantness of bringing the Turducken even into existence, his brilliant commentary. He's probably one of my favorite commentators ever. I mean, and he and Pat Summerall are the reasons why we experience commentary even to today. Like, listen, Romo and Nance are fine, but Pat Summerall and John Madden were like god tiers, the S tier of commentary duos, of course. But before all of that, he used to be a player. He used to be a player some time ago. And then he transitioned to coaching. And then he decided to coach for the Oakland Raiders under Al Davis. I mean, you thought John Madden was a character. Al Davis was another character. But he'll have his hand, of course, in a couple of Super Bowls and a couple of relocations, of course. But more on that later. John Madden has never had a losing season in Oakland. Never have a losing season. And, of course, he only won 1 Super Bowl. But let's be honest. At the time, there were so many good teams in the AFC. Yeah, I mean, their rivalry with the Pittsburgh Steelers was one of the best rivalries ever. I think they'd had the Immaculate Reception. And, I mean, the Dolphins game was like the Sea of Hands, of course, way back when. So he has a lot of big battles with some really good AFC teams back in the 70s. And once he finally break through for the one time, they actually won the Super Bowl. And yes, John Madden's record was incredible. He went on to have a great career after that, and we all know that. But we never get to know John Madden without his coaching career and his football career first. So while, many people will be knowing John Madden for what's going on inside the booth and becoming like the only person to ever do 4 Super Bowls with 4 different networks: Fox, ABC, ESPN, NBC, and CBS. Yeah, he did the quadra, of course. He did the quadra of Super Bowls. And while he was great on the booth, I think many people slept on how great a coaching thing is. And if you want to know what a great coach with a great football man who go on to have so much success, this Super Bowl is for you. This Oakland Raiders beatdown of the Vikings, who pretty much like fell off a cliff after that year with the probability years being old and all kind of stuff. But to see a great coach, a great mind doing this against a pretty good team back in the 70s and 60s is something to watch and behold. And we still miss you, John Madden, wherever you are. Actually, he's down there. But if you're still there, actually, no. Let me just rephrase. Sorry about that. We still miss him. We miss his presence. We miss his funniness. We miss his Chuck Durkin jokes. We miss his boom catchphrase and his marker scribby and all kind of stuff. We still miss him. God, we still miss him. And I hope his legacy will continue on when Thanksgiving comes around again. So anyways, that should do it. That should do it for my episode, of course, about Super Bowl 11. Coming up in Super Bowl 12, you know what? We don't know about Super Bowl 12. Tomorrow will be another day, of course. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow.